Hello everyone, welcome back to the Geoguessr Explain channel. I'm going to play two seeds today, explain exactly what my thought process is so that you can get better guesses in your own gameplay. And we start off here in around with the yellow outer lines. If you want to play before you see my guesses, links are in the description as always. And here we are. Okay, so this is the landscape, clearly very mountainous. We have these yellow outer lines with the kind of triple white lines here. This arrangement of lines is very specific, so definitely worth keeping in mind. I think this is a pretty easy round, all things considered, so we'll get to it quickly. But we're driving left, which is obviously already immediate a huge advantage to know. We got wooden poles, a lot of small houses. The houses here are actually tiny, like, I don't know. The chances are that you watching this video live in a house bigger than this. I think that's fair to say, and you can see this is, generally speaking, the case for a lot of these. In fact, all of them, I would say. So, yeah, let's combine the different factors we have. So we're in the mountains, so that's immediately going to be helpful, although we're going to have to combine it with other things, of course. The yellow outer lines here would put you in Middle East or South Africa, generally speaking, or Southern Africa, because this is not actually South Africa. And then we have these flat-topped mountains. I think this is a good example here. We have these flat-topped mountains with almost no trees on them. And you can see there's bushes, but there are no trees on these mountains. None. And that's very specific to this country because it's so high altitude that it's, harder for trees to grow and such. And the final thing I wanted to mention is the white Google car here, which is very common. In fact, 100% of frames in this country have it, and that's Lesotho. So, Lesotho, we'll have these flat top mountains, no trees. Eswatini, which looks the same and also always has the white car, will normally have trees on the hills, will feel a bit warmer, and we'll have like longer grass and everything. This kind of shorter grass, or these tufts of grass that we can see here. Normally you would see like bigger, like golden fields of grass in Eswatini. Okay, so then Lesotho, whereabouts? That's kind of tougher. We're going northeasterly here. Could be, I'm trying to think. I feel like this is a very gettable round. I don't recognize where it is. It could be like towards here. Could be just heading into the mountains on one of these roads. I'm actually not sure. I feel like it's most likely to be down here, but that's kind of more advanced than we need to go here. So I'm just gonna guess, and it was down on that road. Nice. Okay, headed forth. Next one here, double white line. Double white line versus single white line can be very useful for getting the right region of Europe. And, I mean, the very fact that we have a bollard here would indicate Europe, and this one with the red reflector looks like the New Zealand bollard, but in Europe, which we can tell it is by the sun being to the south and how green it is and all that bit, then we can say this is the Polish bollard, which, yeah, looks very similar to the New Zealand one when you start out. And Poland does love double white lines. Countries in Europe that love double white lines as well, Greece, Denmark. Greece, Denmark, and Poland have to be the ones that love them the most. I'm just trying to think of other ones that really enjoy them. There might actually not be another country where it's as consistent as those three, I think. A lot of other countries you're going to see the single line or no line or something like that more commonly. Dashed lines or whatever. Yeah, it's quite hilly here. These hills are big enough for me to say this is almost certainly South Poland. Yeah, we got big hills both sides, so yeah, we should be in South Poland here. So yeah, really going to click somewhere along the Slovak or Czech border. And I would say it's probably, with like the larch here, it's probably feeling like it's going to be on the Slovak border, the highest mountains that you can get. And yeah, right on the Slovak border there. Makes a lot of sense, felt very cold. An area of the world I have been to. Very, very beautiful. Okay, next one here. We've got the terrible camera quality. So this one's pretty straightforward. Only a few countries when you get that. And with this big boxy car here with the terrible camera quality, it will be India. So that's all you need. Then we've got a huge open rice field here, and it's very polluted. Look how, like, I don't know if it's mist. I think it's more actually just pollution, but I could be wrong. But with that much pollution, normally it like tends to like the amount of pollution tends to like rub up against like the Himalayas. So you get it a lot in like states like Uttar Pradesh, Haryana, Punjab, Bihar, something like that. With the huge open rice field and what looks to me maybe some red brick buildings, it's really hard to say, but they're kind of square, they're kind of flat roofed. That's very typical for like Uttar Pradesh, architecture, so I'm liking that the best. The boxcar is also very common in like the northwestern states. So yeah, I would probably just go Uttar Pradesh here, right up towards the Himalayas. And okay, it was actually Punjab. Yeah, all the way up. It makes sense. I think Punjab grows a lot of sugarcane as well as rice, but yeah, rice can be anywhere in this green section here and throughout the country as well. So not the most useful. But I think it was a gettable round if you're better at India than I am. Next one here. We've got a lot of coconut palms. I'm immediately noticing that. We've got a white painted guardrail. Not many countries actually paint their guardrails white. The biggest one I can think of that's not this country is Japan, that loves to paint guardrails white a lot of the time. But that's kind of rare, so that's actually pretty useful here. Looking around, tons of coconut palms just absolutely everywhere here. Bit of banana action as well. Okay. Okay. So, the big thing here is that we got the white dashed lines with the orange center lines. And, yeah, that's actually something that Japan and Philippines, which is the country we're in, share, is that Japan and Philippines often use these orangish lines instead of yellow ones, and paint the guardrails white. So that's kind of an interesting similarity. And yeah, I don't know, like, it is very tropical here. We have another kind of palm here, which is like more of a fan palm. You can see these ones, like, they're straighter branches. These ones are more fan-shaped. When you see these ones, it's often towards Bicol Peninsula, which is here, and in this area of the Philippines, but it's not 100% consistent. I think it does look like that. The east of the Philippines gets more spammed palm trees like this. Like, you see it a lot in Samar and Leyte and, like, this area here. So that could make quite a bit of sense to me. So yeah, maybe I would think actually Bicol here. Although Bicol often will paint their guardrails with black stripes, so maybe we're even just like south in Samar. The angle of the road could be something like this. I'm not very confident on this one. It could also be like along the mountain range here. You would sometimes see that many palms, but yeah, I don't know. Let's go for this. And okay, it was in Bicol, but without the striped guardrail. I'm not sure how often the striped guardrail actually happens, but with that palm tree, it definitely makes sense to have been there. Next one here. Okay, we got double concrete road here. I think we had that in the last round as well, didn't we? So that double concrete road should lean you either Thailand or Philippines, straight off the bat. You can see it in other countries, but just as a balance of probabilities, it's probably going to be there. And yeah, we have an octagonal metal pole here. Not to be confused with the octagonal concrete pole that you see in Mexico. But yeah, the octagonal metal pole here, that's basically going to be Philippines. I don't know. I don't think it's really common in any other country. We have a lot of thatched roofs here. Thatched roofs would normally lean you to the east of the country, where there's more rainfall. And can we get anything more specific? We have quite a bit of bamboo here. A lot of, like, we had like a... Just trying to get a vibe here. It is a fairly difficult round. I would say it's quite flat, which is interesting for Philippines. Philippines, it's often going to be pretty mountainous, of course. This is a green plate. Green plates in Philippines. A few other countries that use like kind of light green plates like that, like Nigeria. There's a few. Let me see here. So, oh yeah, they're Catholic as well, so that's obviously pretty useful. Yeah, not too much here. Not too much here in the way of proper clues, I would say. So it's gonna have to kind of vibe it out. To me, it feels like maybe like a Panay. Bamboo's pretty common on Panay, so that could make some sense. I could see a flat Palawan here. I'm just trying to think. Is there anywhere that could actually fit landscape-wise? Like, it could be out towards like a flat bit like this. I don't know. I don't think we see enough houses made of bamboo, which we would see in Palawan, so I'm not really too on board with that. So yeah, I would probably just think of a Panay here, maybe Masbate, maybe more north with the concrete walls and everything. Kind of feels a bit more northern to me. But yeah, not an easy round. I mean, as I said, like, the thatched roof should theoretically be east, but I feel like it's too flat for anywhere east that I can think of. Maybe up here, but yeah. Let's give it a go. And okay, it was east after all. This is a very flat bit of Samar. That's pretty remarkably flat, I would say. Normally the mountains are going pretty close to the coast, but we couldn't see any. But that makes sense. Yeah, similar kind of central vibe, lots of palm trees, thatched roofs. Yeah, not too bad there. Philippines is a country I've been working on, but would like to be. I could have got closer on both of those, to be fair. Yeah, that was no moving. Let's head through to NMPZ. See what we can see on this one. Okay, let's go. NMPZ. Okay, so immediately we got these black-tipped bollards, which look like standard European ones that just end at the black bit. There's no white bit above the black bit. So the three countries you can see this are Albania, Italy, and San Marino. Pretty simple one, so very limited options, which is nice. And I would say all three, unironically, this is one of the very few rounds where all three countries are actually possibilities. So we're going to have to actually kind of lock in here. Okay, well, the fact that we have a very rolling landscape with like a hedgerow here would make me think Albania is quite unlikely. I think you can get somewhat of a rolling landscape in the south, but it's normally more mountainous. And then the north is like either flat or very mountainous. So and the addition of the hedgerow in there makes me pretty confident that it's not that. So then we're between Italy and San Marino. Now, most of San Marino is split between Gen 4 and Gen 3 in the summertime, so this coverage can fit. Looks like it's fairly summerish. The rolling landscape, normally San Marino is quite mountainous, but you can, on like the outskirts, get this kind of rolling landscape, maybe up towards here or down here or something like that, so could definitely see it. The fact that we have a lot of bollards is also very common in San Marino, so I could definitely see it here. I think copyright should actually... I actually haven't checked the Gen 3 copyright in San Marino, but it looks like this is 2019 copyright. I mean, it's not out of the question that they published it with an old copyright, but that would definitely lead me towards Italy. That being said, it looks like San Marino, which is why I was entertaining that possibility the whole time. So maybe we're just nearby, like in this region here or this region here. It feels like central Italy to me. So yeah, I think I will go... Lots of pines. I'm not really sure what that would mean to me. They're obviously planted here, not like natively growing, but yeah, I think I would go... I don't know, it doesn't feel too far from the coast to me. I'm not quite sure what to do with this. I think I would go here. And it was just in San Marino. Okay, that is definitely interesting to me. As I said, it looked like San Marino. And apparently the copyright can be... Okay, that's a really nice learning lesson. 2019 copyright can be San Marino. This is what San Marino landscape looks like quite a lot of the times, yeah. And we did have the spammed bollards, which makes sense, and summer coverage. So, yeah, I mean, a difficult San Marino to be sure, but good to know. Okay, next one here. We've got this orange reflector bollard, and with dashed outline. Okay, so this bollard, it looks like the German one, and the German one will be very similar looking on intersections when you do get the orange reflector. But if we're on a straight line here where there's no intersection, then that won't be the German style. And then dashed outer lines will also not be in Germany either. So what about Hungary? Well, Hungary also wouldn't do dashed outer lines, and the reflector would be red, not orange. So we're basically just left with Lithuania. This is kind of a know the bollard kind of round, but it is good to know that sometimes Lithuania will have dashed outer lines. They're long dashes, kind of more similar to Norway kind of length, and the road here is slightly red, which is something I do see in Latvia and Lithuania, not really in Estonia, but it's pretty rare in both countries. But yeah, definitely liking Lithuania here. It's a dead cert to me, and yeah, good score. Next one here. Okay, so we have double yellow lines here. Interesting road texture, like the road on the bridge seems to be concrete, but it's a normal road in the distance. So double yellows. Clearly driving right hand side of the road. So, okay, so this is interesting. So I was considering Argentina here, but I don't think it's Argentina for two reasons. Number one, we've got like a very like red dirt inside the hill here, and I just think from experience that would be quite strange for Argentina. And number two, we have this blue, white, and black paint job here. And I'm pretty sure that's something you see mostly in Bolivia. I think it's a political party or maybe like an indigenous flag. I can't remember what the context of that is, but it's something you see in Bolivia. And Bolivia has dense coverage in a few areas, and I feel like this is some of the kind of random dense coverage you'd get around La Paz, maybe. Because it feels like southern Peru. The other possibility is here that I've misjudged this, and it's actually a Peruvian thing. But I think we have a thick signpost in the distance that's not black and white painted. So I think it should be Bolivia. And if I'm wrong, it's probably actually Arge. But as I said, I just don't think this kind of graffiti here nor this kind of hill here really makes sense. So it's kind of an if you know, you know. But this kind of paint job is at least a nice thing to take from this round. And yeah, actually surprisingly hilly down towards Coro Coro there, but close enough. Okay. Next one here. We got the section poles. 1, 2, 3, 4 sections of the concrete pole here. That will be in Brazil. And a few other countries, but clearly with the tiled roofs and the white architecture here, this is just Brazil. Don't confuse it with the Chilean pole, which doesn't have the sections. We've got like this kind of rickety fence and like very like weedy grass here. Can you see how it's not really real grass? It's kind of weed grass. So that definitely leans to the northeast of Brazil. That combination with the fence and the grass would definitely lean me northeast Brazil here. We have some coconut palms too, which makes good sense. We have this kind of lamp. I know this one that's kind of straight out and then turns downwards is very common in Paraíba, but can be found around the place. 2023 blue car, not going to help us really. I know the fake grass is particularly common in Ceará. And we have South Mountains, which does feel good for Ceará. And we have a lot of tiled roofs. I think the further west you go in this section, the more tiled roofs there are. Like Maranhão and Piauí have more than like the northeast states here. But yeah, I'm actually not too sure here. I could see it could just be like a wet season like around here, or maybe Ceará. That's my kind of 50-50 here. I think I would go Ceará actually, but not too sure. And okay, it was just in Paraíba. No, it was actually Pernambuco there. Okay, so the lamp was not quite exactly where I expected, but yeah. And the final one here, a very interesting round because it feels very distinctive. It feels like it's going to be some Micronation here to me. The fact that it's Generation 2 in a major city is immediately a red flag. Okay, let's do a car count. So that looks like a Citroen to me. I could be wrong. That's a Mercedes. So French, German, and then other ones in the distance I'm not going to really have a guess for. Thick road lines here. So I'm really, surprisingly enough, I'm kind of between Andorra and Monaco here. And I'm thinking it's Monaco with this red striped bollard. I think that looks like Monaco. Yeah, it's very hard to say because like I feel like Monaco mostly I immediately recognize it, but this might just be a hard Monaco. The thick road lines, could it actually be Andorra? Maybe. So Andorra normally has like a lot of rock architecture. Like a big building like this would probably be made of rock. And honestly, these bollards look more Andorran to me. I mean, look more Monaco to me. These like thick little bollards. They give like a Mediterranean vibe. So I will trust my gun here, but it could be Andorra. And it was. Okay, very... As they come, basically as hard as... This is as hard as it gets in Monaco. It's like right at the end of like a alleyway. Yeah, this is a cool location. But yeah, I mean, if you didn't get it, probably just look out for the fact that it was like in the middle of a city in Gen 2. And remember, we're playing an arbitrary world here. So an arbitrary world is computer generated, so you're not going to get like these crazy handpicked bait locations, even though we did have San Marino and Monaco there, which is kind of funny. But yeah, definitely a difficult seed. If you manage 20k on this, well done, because I feel like that's on the upper end of difficult seeds for arbitrary world. But yeah, I'll see you guys in a video very soon. Till next time, and thank you for watching. Goodbye.